Thompson. Haggerty. Thompson goes back to Bree. Again, Thompson loves to reset a player and give her another chance. There's Candace Lee, the senior from Eugene, Oregon.
And she's wearing that different colored jersey because she can go in and out of the game without counting as a substitution. She can serve for the second year in a row. She's just a defensive specialist. Cannot hit or attack the ball at any time.
What a special night.
The antenna.
That one was off the antenna point for Washington. And what a special night it would be for Candace and Jim McLaughlin. That was her first. She was the first recruit that McLaughlin reeled in when he arrived. And the point actually goes to Nebraska on that one. Rachel Schwartz on the serve, the freshman from Lincoln. Haggerty's blocked. Hotel Stars sends it back.
You look at Candace Lee's numbers, and it's hard to believe she's even playing volleyball. Second all-time in the Pac-10, but back in high school, they thought she had a blood disorder. They actually went in, did surgery, and discovered, believe it or not, that she had 3 spleens. They ended up retaking all 3 of them out, and she has since made a full recovery.
Salamua off the block. Gets the kill. Nebraska trying to rally here in game 2, down by 5. And the Husker Nation now starting to make some noise. Games to 30, must win by 2. Thompson to Haggerty. Salamua got her hands on that one. Hoteling. Tough set to handle. Got that one in. Point Nebraska. This run here by the Huskers coming off the service of Rachel Schwartz. The walk-on. She grew up as a Husker ball girl for their 2000 national championship team. Hoteling gets the kill.
And Hoteling starting to spark up, gets her 7th kill, but problem is she's had 4 hitting errors, but most of those came early. She's settled down, has become much more consistent here in the second game.
It's a 5-0 run for Nebraska. Another tough serve from Schwartz. Net violation for Nebraska. Danicic on the serve. Westbrook to Sarah Pavitt. Leaves pass to Thompson. The back set, back row. Tomasevic. Point Washington, and it is now game point for the commanding 2-0 lead in the match. Back over by Thompson. Danny Busbroom picks up the Stalls. Unable to track it down again. Busbroom again. Stalls sliding behind. Goes cross court.
Stalls has been quiet. Just her 2nd kill. She needs to become more active.
Salamua checks with John Cook as to where they want to serve it. Thompson to Morrison. Point Huskies. And Washington takes game 2 of the match. And a commanding 2-0 lead in this national championship showdown with #1 Nebraska.
Bree Haggerty, a transfer out of Ohio State. In the past, had a tendency to be hot and cold, but in this tournament, she's been nothing but hot. A great outside force.
8 kills now for Bree. Stalls. Got it down inside the block. Point for Nebraska. Bree Haggerty, the senior from, great name, Defiance, Ohio.
Big night tonight in the semifinal win against Tennessee. 16 kills, hit 294 in those 3 games.
point for Washington. Yeah, it's Haggerty, Myrie, Candace Lee, Danka Danicic, and Sonia Tomasevic, the 5 members of this senior class. I'd love to go out getting Washington that first national championship. It would be the 5th in school history. Football has one, and women's crew has 3. Hoteling. Off the block wide, point Nebraska. It's Washington and Nebraska in the NCAA Divisional Women's Volleyball National Championship match here in San Antonio, Texas. Beth Mullins and Heather Cox. And the Huskies surprising the top seed by winning games 1 and 2. If they win the 3rd, they win the national championship for the first time in school history. But not if Nebraska keeps blocking like that. In their first appearance ever in the national championship final. Maggie Griffin serving for the Huskers. None of them have been here before, but the program certainly has. Second only to Stanford in the NCAA history in tournament wins and tournament win percentage as they go for their 3rd national championship.
And ironically, the 2 previous years that they won in 95 and 2000, they had the National Player of the Years. In 95, it was Allison Weston. In 2000, Gracia Lee Shapiro. Well, this year, Christina Hoteling of Nebraska earned National Player of the Year, and they're hoping to keep that trend alive.
First championship under former coach Terry Pettit. The second was under John Cook in his first season. Griffin looks to Hoteling. Hard to get any tip down with the defense. Net violation on Nebraska. Ashley Aratani, the sophomore from Honolulu, on to serve. With the big swing.
And you know what's changed here in game 3? Washington continues to serve Sarah Pavin, but she's passing so much better. That time, the perfect pass led to the kill out of the middle by Elmer. Sarah Pavin has settled down dramatically.
Hoteling serving. Thompson sets Crystal Morrison. Pounds that one down. Crystal leading the charge with 13 kills. That's tops in the match on either side of the net. Elmer starting to make her presence known a bit more here in game 3.
Now, this is the Nebraska team we're accustomed to seeing. Better ball control, tougher serving, and John Cook's vintage blocking scheme.
Serves, missed it long. 8th service error.
And it's really a tough decision. Jordan Larson, just a freshman playing on the biggest stage of her career, has only 1 kill in this match, but she's their toughest server, but already a couple of service errors, so it's just tough to know what you're going to get out of freshmen.
Griffin looks to Pavin. Make the switch to the different setter now here in the 6-2 as Busboom will come on to serve.
And Busboom, a great story, was actually an outside hitter in high school, dreamed of going to Nebraska. John Cook said, you know what, the only way that you're going to come here is if you switch positions and become a setter. So that's exactly what she did to make her dream come true.
You mentioned Allison Weston. She's wearing Allison's number 18 jersey, her idol growing up. Really the story of Nebraska volleyball, from a small town. A lot of these players grew up on farms and had to, make the long trip to the gym, or would pound the ball off the side of the barn at home. Just great athletes that evolved into great volleyball players.
And in Nebraska, unlike most states, girls grow up dreaming of playing volleyball, not basketball, not soccer, and that's because of Terry Pettit. and the legend that he started really grassroots volleyball, going out to all the high schools, all the clubs, and getting young girls interested in the sport.
They have 57 Division I players out of the state of Nebraska. The best of them tend to stay home and play for the Huskers, and why not? They've had 71 consecutive sellouts at home. They sell courtside seats to all their home matches. And that's a big reason why the NCAA will be heading to Omaha, Nebraska, in the Quest Center for the national championships next year.
Good deal.
Thompson looks to Haggerty. Tools that block. Point Washington.
Huge adjustment in this game. Both teams hitting such low percentages in the first two games, but in this third game, Nebraska with just one hitting error, Washington with three. Both teams settling down and the block not as effective.
Put right back at her. Salamua. Second Nebraska player ever with 1,000 kills and 1,000 digs in her career, joining Eileen Shannon, who did it 13 years ago. Thompson couldn't connect with Deasing. Stalls the back set. And the block. Washington. Disarray on the Husker side. Margaret McLaughlin, Jim's wife, enjoying the action so far. He inherited a last place team at Washington. The wins have gone up every year. A great story with Jim and the former AD Barbara Hedges, who knew him from his days at USC.
Exactly, and then he went to Kansas State, and when Washington was looking for an opening, Barbara Hedges the first to call Jim.
He took the job, and here they are in the national championship match 5 years later. They set up Courtney Thompson, looks to Morrison. Larson able to keep it alive. Tomasevich trying to tip it over the block. Back row, Pavin. Starting to impose her will. First freshman to be named first-team All-America last year since Logan Tom did it at Stanford back in 1999. All Logan did was go on to win a national championship, and she was named to the 25th anniversary team as one of the 6 best ever.
And both teams back-to-back starting to use the back row attack, and it's using the hitters when they're in the back row. They have to hit behind that 10-foot. Just adds one more attacker to the mix. There's that 10-foot line that you have to stay behind if you're in the back row, but you can swing from anywhere on the court if you stay behind it.
Every time the serving specialist, Larson. Thompson goes to Morrison, finds the corner. 14 kills now for Crystal. And Washington is within 1. They have trailed throughout game 3. Overpass, Morrison crushes it. Within the hoteling. Finishes that one around the block.
And that time a smart move. Sarah Pavin 2 points ago was passing in the middle of the court. That time they switched her, moved her to the left side. Just takes her out of the mix a little bit, lets her focus on her offense.
They could use the hoteling option a bit. She's hitting .495 in the NCAA tournament, but just .063 here today. Tomasevich out of the back, blasts it off of hoteling.
You know, I love the philosophy. If you've got a hot hand like Tomasevich, why not use her in 6 rotations? So many times, setters will only use their big gun for the 3 rotations across the net. Hey, bring her in as often as you can.
Tomasevic, the young lady who left Serbia, Montenegro, left the war behind in her native country to come to the United States to get a college education, pushed by her mom and dad. Through some tough times, they said, you got to keep fighting. That's where you need to be, and she has thrived at Washington, academically and athletically. Elmer with the crush.
Well, just about every time Nebraska gets a good pass, they're able to terminate out of the middle. The problem is those good passes have come few and far between, thanks to Washington's serve.
Larson serve. Myrie dug up by Larson. Sent to Morrison, rejected by Elmer.
Elmer's led the nation in blocks per game the last 2 years. It's because of that penetration, the way she drops that left hand, just instinctive to the ball.
Elmer passing up on her graduation. The rest of her classmates getting their degrees today back in Lincoln, and she's here with the team. She will pick up that marketing degree when she gets home. She'd love to take that national championship trophy with her. And a big block from UW. Elmer, whose dad was a terrific college athlete, grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Arguably the best middle blocker in the nation. Outside the antenna, point Nebraska.
Well, you notice it's getting very vocal out there, a lot of emotions. There's some bad blood between these two programs, and Nebraska actually got pretty fired up at a quote appearing in the newspaper in the middle of the season. John Cook made all of his players read it. Sonia Tomasevic of Washington was quoted as saying, we're dominant, we know we're better, we know if we do everything we should, we're going to crush them. The them meaning Nebraska. So Tomasevic predicting an eventual matchup with Nebraska mid-season and saying we will crush them. Nebraska using it as a bit of board fodder.
So far, it's been the Huskies, but Nebraska trying to get back in it. They need to win games 3, 4, and 5. It's been done twice before in the last 24 years of the tournament. A team rallying from 0-2 to win the match and the championship. Sarah Pavin serving. Service error, number 9. The service again at Pavin. Buffalo with the hotel. Lee Haggerty. Point Huskies.
So many weapons for Washington. Courtney Thompson doing an amazing job distributing, really keeping Nebraska's block guessing.
And Washington trailing by as many as 5 here in game 3, back on top. Huskies just seem to be getting to everything defensively. Overpass. Point Washington.
And you're right, Washington just making it look easy.
Timeout Huskers. And trying for the improbable sweep. Prognosticators thought this one would last all night. Hoteling out of the timeout gets the kill. Game is to 30, must win by 2. Sally Moore will serve. Courtney Thompson. Decent solo stuff by Jordan Larson.
It's interesting to watch Nebraska after every timeout. They come out and execute, and that's credit to John Cook and his assistants.
And I believe they've instead given the point back to Washington.
John Cook up asking for an explanation. And they're calling a net violation, a phantom net on Nebraska.
26-24. Washington. Tough pass. Pavin back row. Gets it.
a swing that net call made. Instead of it being 26-25 Nebraska, they're still down by 1. 2-point swing. That's tough this late in the game.
Setter shift as Maggie Griffin comes on now. She serves. Thompson, back row to Masovic. The varied attack from Washington has kept Nebraska guessing. Morrison, Tomasevic, Haggerty, all with double-digit kills. Again, a passing problem for Nebraska. Washington now 2 points away from the national championship.
And here's the adjustment we needed to see. Pavin moved to the left side of the court, but why wasn't it done sooner?
Ashley Aratani goes at Pavin again for their precision serving. Hoteling over the top. That's 10 now for Hoteling.
Courtney Thompson in the front row, so 2 hitters that Nebraska's block has to worry about. Nebraska, of course, with those 3 hitters running the 6-2 offense.
Thompson looks to Morrison. The double block is up. Salamua looks to Larson. Thompson back outside to Morrison. Can't get it through the block. Let's try Crystal again. Good hustle by the Huskers. And into the net for Pavin. And it's match point Washington. Championship point Huskies. Courtney Thompson will serve. Griffin to Elmer. And it's over. The Washington Huskies, in a stunning 3-game sweep, win the program's first ever national championship.
Amazing to think just 5 years ago, Washington was last place in the Pac-10, and Margaret's husband, Jim McLaughlin, came in and turned this program around. From worst to first, literally.
They become the 5th Pac-10 team in a row to win the championship.